Audi's smallest SUV is back for this model year with a major redesign from the ground up. It's both larger, it's more powerful, and packs more standard features than ever before. And I think it also looks better than it ever did before. This is the all-new Audi Q3, and we have been driving it over the past week, experiencing the more power, the all-new technology inside, and the more spacious interior cabin. Though, does it really stand out strong enough against the hot competition in this segment from BMW, Mercedes, Acura, and even Volvo? We're gonna go find out right now, as we'll take you guys on a full in-depth tour and review of this all-new Audi Q3 and whether you should consider this even over the all-new Audi Q5. Let's go dive in. So folks, what's under the hood of this all-new Audi Q3? Well, popping over the hood, we're gonna find a very familiar powertrain. This is the famed EA888 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. And now we're getting over 255 horsepower and are over 270 pound-feet of torque going to all four wheels through a 7-speed STronic dual clutch gearbox. And this vehicle is now one of the most powerful in its class as well, with 0 to 60 in the 5-second range, which is pretty impressive for this class of vehicle. And fuel economy is generally pretty good. They claim up to 29 miles per gallon on the highway, and I actually got that doing around 80 miles on a highway test. I got around 29 to 30 miles per gallon. In the city though, I think it could do a little bit better. I've been seeing around 19. I know the actual city number is a little bit higher and the combined figure is around 25 miles per gallon. I do wish they offered either a plug-in hybrid or mild hybrid here in the United States, but we only get one powertrain at least as of right now, and thankfully it does make quite a lot of power. What is also new, and we'll talk about that in that area too, is the steering system. We now have a progressive steering rack, which means you have a little bit more heft off center, and it honestly makes this Q3 handle a lot better than it did before. It may take some time getting used to if you're coming from the previous generation Q3, which has a much more lighter steering, but I think it also, again, really improves the handling of this all-new Audi Q3. This vehicle is also riding on the very well-known MQB Evo architecture, which is shared with a few other vehicles, including the all-new Volkswagen Tiguan, which is much larger, but all that really means is they share a kind of common transverse front-wheel drive style architecture, but that's not a bad thing. It's a fantastic, dynamic, and very premium platform that really suits this Q3 quite well. As an all-new vehicle, this Audi Q3 has quite a lot of new stuff to talk about. It starts around $43,000 here in the United States, and it may be a little bit more than the past generation Q3, but Audi is giving you a lot more stuff. Like I mentioned, we got the more power. It's a little bit bigger in size, not as big, obviously, as the larger Q5, but that means you're gonna get a little bit more cargo space, a little bit more legroom inside, and overall, I think the stance looks really great. And what's also great is this new design on the Q3. Heck, I honestly almost think it looks a little bit cleaner and more advanced than the Q5. That may be a little bit bold to say, but I'll let you guys debate that in the comments section below. This is the optional sage green paint finish. You have a few different paint finishes from Audi. This one's definitely quite nice. It's very metallic, looks great in the sun, but which is also very bold are these new headlight combinations here. Audi is always known for their advanced lighting technology, and while we may not get the new matrix LED lights that we will soon be getting on the upcoming Q7 and Q9, hopefully this will get that down the road too in the United States, but we do have this configurable daytime running light piece up here from the interior. This is now a split headlight design. Shockingly, the new Q5 actually keeps it all in one headlight housing. The Q3 splits it up. So down here, you're gonna have a really bright LED headlight beams down here. And really cool trick here is Audi actually hid the orange reflector light that's mandatory by the US government in this housing here. So it's not hidden on the bumper over here. It kind of looks a little bit cheap on those. I'm glad they kind of tucked it away on there, which kind of puts it out of your line of sight. This one's also getting the black optics package. So that means we're gonna get blacked out trim all around the exterior, including this blacked out Audi badge over here, which looks very different than what you're typically seeing with those bright chrome rings. Now it blends into this darkish metallic front grille section over here. Audi's signature single frame grille is still very bold and present. And the rear end looks even sharper. We have an LED taillight bar with glowing Audi rings. And this one is getting the optional technology package, which gets you these really cool OLED configurable taillights that do an amazing startup and closing sequence, just like these headlights, and can also be paired with this configurable light design to change up the pattern in the back. No one's really doing that in this segment other than Audi. So if you want the coolest headlights in this entire segment right now, you're gonna have to go for the Q3. Now joining me over here on the wheel, entire front of this all new Audi Q3, these are the largest wheels you can currently get in the United States market. This is a 20-inch wheel, and On the visual front, I think it looks great. It has this nice machine finish to it. We have a painted black metallic interior. Looks really nice. It's wrapped around these Bridgestone Turanza tires over here. These are 255/40 rubber here. I'm not the biggest fan of this all-season tire. I think on the grip limit side, if you're someone that likes to drive your Q3 a little bit hard, I would potentially go for a different tire. I believe these are all seasons as well. And this wheel is very nice visually, but I think if you're going to be driving in an area with a lot of bumps, I honestly would go for the smaller 19-inch wheel with a little bit of a thicker sidewall, because it is a little bit of some hard impacts I can notice coming from the tire section, not necessarily the suspension. And again, this suspension is not the adaptive dampers that you can get in other markets. It's the passive damping system here. We have a McPherson strut style suspension up front and multi-link suspension out back on this particular Audi Q3 as well. Opening up our trunk, we can actually kick to activate to open if you would like, or you can press the center button here to power open it up. And you get a pretty generally spacious trunk section in this Audi Q3. It's 25 cubic feet behind this second row. Fold that second row down, it's a little over 50 cubic feet of storage space, which is generally pretty good for this class. We do have this removable cargo cover over here, which is nice. And I like these nice metal scuff plates. And we've really put this trunk to use this week. We took it to Home Depot, we got some gardening equipment, loaded it up into the Q3 with no problems, and even did some grocery shopping as well. Really great use of trunk space. And what I really appreciated this week are these little side cubby storage sections over here, which have these removable dividers as well, that kind of have a little bit more of a dynamic space. And what's also really great about this Q3 is popping open our floor over here is you actually get a spare tire as well. So this is a great thing. A lot of vehicles these days are going with run flats or going with a fix-a-flat kit. It's nice to have a spare tire in this all-new Audi Q3. In the center over there, I believe, is a subwoofer for our Sonos speaker system as well. But overall, it's a pretty good usage of trunk space. A Audi Q5 will definitely offer you a little bit more trunk space though. And I like how quick this rear tailgate opens and closes. Okay folks, we're gonna go hop inside real quick, check out our Audi key fob here. I love how slim this thing is. It's really, really nice to put in your pocket. Of course, we do get keyless access as well. What's interesting is though, at least I haven't been able to figure it out. The power folding mirrors are manually operated, not automatic. But we do get rear privacy glass, which is great on this Q3. And opening up our rear door panel over here, we surprisingly get a really large door opening, which is really great to see. Let's go hop inside. So getting in this Q3 is really great. I love that already off the bat. Hopping inside, we're gonna note our door panels are pretty nice as well. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's listen to this nice door thunk though. Ooh, that's nice and reassuring, but check out these rear seats in the all-new Audi Q3. We're in a pretty good condition. I love the privacy glass standard, which is great. We also have a pretty generally nice door card back here. We have ambient lighting back here. We have this interesting soft-ish touch material, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but the rest of this is all pretty nice. We have this stitched kind of armrest section over here, which has a window stalk, and we have a really large lower door cubby over here that I believe can fit like a whole giant like travel mug. The whole construction is largely black plastic, but we do get these metal accented door pulls over here and our own lock and unlock switch. One of our Sonos speakers back here, and this interesting textile material over here that just feels like regular old fabric. This would have been nice to be this nice soft touch material as well, but I guess it's okay. But what's really great back here is the large amount of legroom we're getting in this all-new Q3. It's really impressive. So as you can see over here, I have so much legroom sitting behind my own driving position back here, and we also are getting cargo nets behind both front driver and passenger seats. Foot space is also really, really great in this all-new Q3. So they really focused on this passenger space in the rear seats. Center console wise, we're getting two USB-C ports that I believe can go up to 100 watts with a certain package, which is really great. We have our own air vents over here that have a nice Audi click to them. Listen to that, and we can adjust our temperature back here. And I even like how the floor mats have some nice contrasting stitching to them. The seats themselves are also great. They're pretty comfortable. This is a leather construction, this particular one. This is the beige leather option, and we can go into our center armrest over here, fold this down. We're gonna get two cup holders as well, and it's a nice sturdy center armrest. It is nice, soft, and squishy, which is really great. And I believe this center pass-through can actually fold down independently of the other seats as well. So you really can have a lot of adjustability with this rear seating area. And we have some really nice bright interior LED lights back here, which really can bright up this whole cabin at night. But we also have a fantastically large panoramic glass roof that opens and has a sunshade. Thank you, Audi. I didn't really appreciate the fixed roof on the all-new A6 that we had, at least the A6 e-tron. And these seats do have a little slight recline function to them, so you can kind of tilt them back just a little bit. And we have these large cutouts in the roof over here for our headroom, so we really have no issues with headspace in this all-new Q3. They really focused on making this a very spacious rear seat now. And if you did want to fit 3 people back here, I'm going to sit in the center with a little bit of a hump right here. I would say you could actually kind of fit 3 people back here. It'd be a little tight for sure, maybe not adults, maybe kids, but you definitely have a good amount of seat space on the outboard seats. And we have some more additional storage cubbies on these little side portions over here. So if you do have kids, which we do have anchor points over here for your ISOFIX, they drop something, it'll fall into this little cubby and not into a black abyss, which is actually quite nice and refreshing to see. But this isn't the biggest story of the all-new Q3. That real part is this front cabin. So let's go hop up front now and check out the radical new interior for this generation Audi Q3. Let's go hop up front now in the Audi Q3. I do like how we have keyless access controls on all 4 door cards over there. We have a little Audi script right there as well. Opening up our door panel over here, we're going to find the same treatment on these front doors as we did in the rear doors. And these seats are really comfortable in this front. And Audi does really great seats. You can see more of that beige leather design over there. Let's go hop inside though and check out all the cool features of this new Audi Q3, because there are quite a lot to talk about. So closing the door, we have a nice door thunk. Really nice and solid there. And check out this crazy new cabin. So this is the all-new interior of the Audi Q3, and we've seen this screen layout before on the SQ6 e-tron Sportback and A6 e-tron we had to review on the channel, though this is the new 2026 software, which is radically different than the one we just revealed. But this one doesn't get the new 2026 steering wheel, which gets scroll wheels. So it's a little bit of an in-betweener there, but this is a big change compared to the old Q3. And let's start off the bat with what's going on in front of us with this steering wheel design. So this new steering wheel design is interesting. We have this kind of multi-spoke layout here, and we have these haptic touch buttons over here that do have a physical clicking to them. So this is how we're going to control our digital cluster up here, which is a new thing for this model year. And thankfully, I'm happy to say that we now have the Audi maps back in our digital cluster. The other 2 Audis we just tested did not have this, so that's great to see. But as you can see, it's a very thin, kind of long horizontal layout over here for this new digital cluster. It does not take up this whole screen. So there's a lot of black bezel around there. I wish they could have fixed that. The old Audi Virtual Cockpit was really nice. And this is the only tachometer layout you actually get in this vehicle. You can actually kind of do this little sidecar design here. So you can have your music on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side, you can see we have our trip computer, phone information, navigation as well as route information. You can kind of swipe through this, but there's not a lot of information going on here. This black bar at the bottom is always there as well. But the real big story with this new steering wheel design is what's going on behind the steering wheel here, which I actually really like. So Audi has reinvented the turn stalks actually. So as you can see, we have this crazy new design over here for our turn indicator. So now you push down and up, or you can do a short press, up or down to go left or right for your turn stalks. Our front wipers are now controlled by this little click wheel here, which has a really nice satisfying clicking sound to it. Rear wiper, you press this little button here. If you want to flash someone, you pull towards you once, and your auto high beams or manual high beams, you push out once as well as there. And our wipers for our spray, you push this little button over here. You can see how this whole little contraption over here works. I actually love it. I think it's one of the best designs we've seen. It looks a little confusing at first, but it's so easy to use with your finger right off the side of the steering wheel over here. And I know they're going to put this on every Audi soon, so I really like that. And on the right-hand side over here, it turns into your transmission controller. So you put it into drive, neutral, reverse, park right here, and you can do it twice down for sport. It doesn't have the same clicking sound, though, as the turn indicator. So listen to this. And then have a listen to the turn indicator sound over here. I wish it had that same kind of nice satisfying click sound. We have a redesigned cruise control system stock down here as well. This one does have radar adaptive cruise control with turn assist or lane change assist as well, which is really nice. Now this entire dash is pretty interesting as well. We have this kind of tulip wood, I believe, on the dash over here. Really nice feeling open pore wood design. It's not a super open pore, but it looks really nice and feels great to the touch. And we still get physical buttons for our lighting controls actually, so Audi has not removed that. And thankfully on the side over here, we do actually get physical buttons for all of our window controls over here, as well as for our seating controls located underneath the seat over here. So we have quite a lot of great physical adjustments there. I'm glad Audi did that. And the door card design is just like what we saw on the other Audis. So this interesting textile pattern over here and this interesting pattern up here, which I'm honestly not the biggest fan of. It's a little bit on the hard end and it does not feel super premium. I wish this material up here was nicer. The dash is actually covered in that material as well. We also are getting a heads-up display on this particular Q3. So a lot of great features, and I like how all the buttons do illuminate. That's nice. I would like to see the S-Line steering wheel, which is a more traditional looking steering wheel. Even though this is an S-Line Q3, we have the non-S-Line steering wheel. So we do get physical buttons down here. So we have our Audi Drive Select mode over here, auto stop start, traction control. We have one blank button, and we do have a safety system style button over here as well, and our park assist system as well. And they all have a nice click sound to them. And we do have nice normal air vent controls, no weird funkiness. I do wish they were placed a little higher. They're actually quite low. We do have this nice stitched side panel over here, which is nice to rest your leg on. That feels great. And this whole center console area over here is gloss black plastic, so you're definitely going to need to have a cloth with you to wipe this up every now and then, but Audi has always kind of been doing this gloss black center console section over here, even though it's a little bit fussy to use. I do like this cover over here for our ventilated wireless charger. Thankfully we have that to keep your phone from overheating all the time. Two USB-C ports up here and a 12-volt socket as well, so great charging solution little section over here. Nice big large cup holders that are spaced apart, so you can fit nice large cups in there. Great for the American market. And we do have a little controller over here for our e-brake, and we still get a volume scroll wheel over here with a track change. And at night, this whole center console does light up with ambient lighting, which I think looks fantastic. Our center armrest over here is very traditional Audi. It is a little on the harder end, but it is nice and stitched, and it does have that ability to kind of open at any section over here. You can open it all the way up as well, or close it. It has a nice satisfying clicking sound to it, and it's huge inside of here. You can see we have a sunglass in here, but it goes all the way deep right to where the cup holders are, so you can fit stuff really quite deep in there, which is nice. There's just no charging cords in the center armrest. They're only located up there. And of course we still get a nice glove box, which is locking with the key, which is nice. That's really huge actually, and all felt line, which I do really appreciate. And I'm also glad they did not throw in a silly passenger screen in here. I think that would have honestly ruined this interior. Then we come to this new infotainment system. Now we talked about the new infotainment system in 2025 with this new screen, but they changed it for 2026 already. It was that big of an upgrade just for one model year. So this is pretty different actually already. Some things work the same, but I like this new home screen menu over here. As you can see, we have our built-in Audi navigation system and this kind of floating music card over here, which is nice. And we can swipe through and have all of these kind of customizable widget panels over here. You can also configure the side panel over here through your app drawer. So if I wanted to, I could put in, let's say, I believe our driver assistance functions over here. And I can add this as a little card on the side and kind of customize that. This system is actually really easy to use. And since it's a Android automotive back system, we have the Google Play Store, so you can download like YouTube or a web browser or games and play with all of that stuff on the system as well if you would like to. This vehicle page is really great. This is very similar to the 2025 infotainment screen. So we have our drive select mode over here, which we can access via this button if we wanted to, which you can see. We'll cycle through all the drive modes if we want to on this one. Our lighting controls, as you can see, we can change our exterior lighting pattern since we have the upgraded package here. And the interior lighting is really intense. And I like this steering wheel in here. I wish they actually put that steering wheel in the actual car, but you have a lot of adjustment with this interior lighting. You can also do your own custom colors and split it. And the built-in Audi navigation has always been really great. I believe it uses Google Maps on the back end here, and you can do the satellite maps as well if you would like, which is great. And now that we have our virtual cluster back once again, so we have our satellite maps both in our front over here as well as our large display. So that's a great option over here. I think Audi customers for 2025, we're missing out on that. Now we also are getting this bar over here, which is our climate system. So yes, it's built into the infotainment system now. We will always have this bar down here. I have to say, since the screen is curved to us as a driver, it's pretty easy to touch, I would say, generally most of the time. Some of the controls here are a little funky, so yes, our heated seats are in here, as well as our temperature adjustment. But if you open up the climate menu over here, you got a pretty simple screen. You can pop it into auto if you would like, and kind of takes away some controls there, or you can just, you know, make a quick adjustment for your fan speed, and that deactivates it here. If you press comfort again, you can even do a quick settings to heat your specific hands or feet, cool your feet, or you have fresh air. But what's also great is I can just use the voice assistant. So I could say, hey Audi, turn on my heated seats.
Okay, I am setting the seat heating to 3.
So it works really quickly, really well, and you can actually enable a function where you can cut it off as it's speaking to you and just tell it a different command. And I like how it shows up what you're saying in this display here. So this is a really great infotainment system, as well as a voice assistant in this vehicle. The rest of this interior, again, isn't super crazy. It's simple, it's clean. I think it's a good direction they're going in. I would like to see this whole, you know, kind of big bezel cluster kind of change up a little bit, but I'm sure they're working on that stuff down the road. We do get a nice frameless rear view mirror with compass integration and HomeLink integrated into this whole little cluster here, which is nice. Up here, we're getting really bright interior LED lights as well. And we have our controls, which are slider controls here for our large glass roof, again, which does open. Thankfully, it does open. Again, some vehicles are removing this ability these days, but I'm glad Audi still has that. And we have a sunshade as well. And I like how these nice large mirrors over here have LED lights and also pretty much cover the entire side of this glass over here, so you can have good sun protection. And right before we head off to go drive the vehicle, there's two more things I want to mention in here. We do have a nice large cubby over here, which is great to store some stuff, and we have a really good 360 camera system with parking assist now. So they kind of took a book out of BMW here, so we have both reverse path assist as well as full park assist. I will say though that over the course of this week, the wireless Apple CarPlay functionality has been very temperamental. Every single time I've gotten the vehicle, it has completely disconnected. I've had some instances where it would just completely go blank as I was driving while I had navigation on. So I'm not too sure if it's just a software glitch on this early build model, or if this is a pre-production unit and it just may have some little glitches here and there, but that has not been my favorite aspect of this vehicle's interior software this week. I'll shut up now and let's go take this thing out on a drive and see what's new in the driving experience for 2026. A quick little acceleration test here. We have it in S transmission and in dynamic mode. Pretty quick. The 255 horsepower definitely comes on strong. We do have manual functions here. Really quick upshifts from the 7-speed dual clutch gearbox here. Now, what I did notice this week in our testing in and around town, every now and then you'll have that kind of dual clutch nature, which means low speed settings coming off of a stop, you may have a little clunkiness. It's those clutch packs coming together there. I'm not the biggest fan of that all the time. It kind of is a little unsettling, but this thing does handle well. We put it in S mode, dynamic mode here, going around a corner onto the highway. Really quick, and this progressive steering rack really works in the corners for this new Q3. It does feel a lot more planted, and you have a little bit more control as a driver going around a corner. Honestly, it's a little bit of a rewarding driving experience. The other thing with this Q3 that's pretty interesting is it's generally pretty light. It's not that heavy. It's around 3,900 pounds, so it feels pretty light on its feet. This is the Volkswagen Group MQB Evo architecture here, which of course is derived originally from the Golf, and it kind of spread out through many vehicles throughout the Volkswagen Audi group. But that just means it has that inherent handling nature built into the architecture here, and it's really no difference here. We have a McPherson strut front suspension, multi-link out back, and it all comes together generally well. It is a little bit on the stiffer side of suspension tuning, even though on smooth pavement it's incredibly comfortable. As a passenger, it's also incredibly comfortable as well. And we're getting insulated acoustic glass around this front portion as well, so it's going to be a little bit quieter of a driving experience on the highway. Insulation around us as well, so that's going to kind of cancel out a lot of that road noise, though. Even with this 20-inch wheel, I am experiencing that just a little bit from the wheel section rather than the actual cabin. Going over bumps, you can kind of feel that little bit more stiff nature to this Q3 as it kind of focuses a little bit more on handling now for this generation. But again, the overall drive experience generally is smooth. Now we'll pop it back into comfort mode as we're now out on the highway. We'll open up our cool virtual kind of view cluster over here, so it sees all the vehicles around you, which is pretty nice. And we have a really great adaptive cruise control system on this Q3, and we activate it on this lower left-hand stalk over here still, so pull it towards us, and we are activated just like that. We can adjust our speed by increments of 5 by pushing all the way up. If you do a short press, you can do increments of 1 mile per hour as well, which is nice. And this one has lane change assist. It's a little silly feature here, but you do a short press on your turn indicator there, make sure your lane is clear, as even though it's checking as well, and it will do an auto lane adjustment there for you, which is great. You do have to have your hands on the steering wheel though, and pay attention to the road in front of you, otherwise it will cancel itself out there. But it does work. It's a little bit of a gimmick, but if you are on a long road trip and you don't want to change lanes yourself, you can do so via the stalk here. Interestingly enough though, the 2025 A6 we tested actually didn't even have this, so this is a new addition to the 2026 model year of Audis. Overall though, as you can hear, it's really quiet on the highway, which is great. Visibility is also pretty good all around you. You sit relatively high, which is interesting because you have this wraparound panel in front of you here of these displays, but it's relatively low. So I'm glad that we have the heads-up display, because my line of sight is outside of the vehicle and I can see my speed right in front of me there, which is great. Otherwise, I kind of have to look down to kind of interact with a lot of these displays. But I guess once you're in cruise control system here, driving along, it works all pretty generally good as a package. What I don't particularly like though on this new Q3 is this upgraded, I guess, Sonos speaker system. It's just not the best sounding. We'll pop on our audio test track for you guys. Turning it off there. My only complaints, I would say, is it's generally a little bit on the hollower sounding for this very premium vehicle. I've experienced audio systems in I guess, luxury brands that honestly sound a little bit better than this Sonos speaker system. So I honestly was expecting a little bit more out of this Audi. Even the S3 that we tested last summer, I think that Sonos speaker system sounded a little bit better than this particular one. But that is your current option here. You do have some adjustments if you would like to make adjustments in there. I've kind of played around with everything this week, but I just never found a setting that really worked for my own personal music tastes here. But again, that's all really subjective, up to how you like to listen to your music. Overall though, this week, this has been a pretty cool vehicle to experience. There's a lot of new stuff from Audi. There's a lot of things to like here. It's really spacious on the interior. It drives really great. I've pretty been impressed with the driving experience. Compared to something like a BMW X1, for example, it feels a lot lighter on its feet than that vehicle, even though that felt a little bit more dynamic. I do like the dual clutch tuning in this Audi Q3 versus the BMW dual clutch tuning. That one felt a little bit even more jerky than this one does. This has a little bit more smoothness to it, even though I did experience that dual clutch kind of jerkiness at low speeds once this week. My only complaints really are some of the tech stuff in here has been a little bit on the buggy side. It may just be this particular test vehicle, but I've had Apple CarPlay really not work like the whole week. It's wireless in its functionality. I had to plug it in a few times just to get it to run. There were some times where it would never connect at all. I reset my phone, the car. That was just one thing. I'm sure a software update can address that. But that was really my own issue, really, I've experienced here. And just some other quirks. I wish the screen was a little bit bigger. It kind of took up more space over here, but this is their new layout here. They're kind of figuring themselves out as they move into this newer era for Audi's interiors. And they quickly are adapting to that, which is really great. And another minor thing is the brake pedal in this car is very twitchy. I've gotten used to this over the course of the week a little bit, but it still is not my favorite brake pedal. It kind of reminds me of Mazda's, where you have a lot of travel in the brake pedal and then it just bites really hard, so you kind of have to adjust your driving style to it just a little bit as well. But yeah, that's just some quick summaries of my experience over this week in the Audi Q3. Should you consider the all-new 2026 Audi Q3 if you're looking at some of its competition from Mercedes, BMW, Volvo, or even Acura? I would say so. It looks fantastic. This interior is really refreshing to see. A lot of the other interiors feel just like squished down versions. And this is kind of the same concept here, but this infotainment system, when it's working, is really simple and easy to operate. It's really quick to the touch. You still have some physical buttons in here. You have a lot of interior legroom for both rear and us front passengers, good cargo space, and the power is really strong. So Audi really value packed this generation of Q3, and I'm excited to see kind of how this model develops throughout its
its lifetime. So you can live with some of the little quirks in here, like these tiny little buttons over here, and some of the infotainment system quirks that you may or may not experience. I think you'll be okay, but overall, this is a nice, refreshing experience from Audi, and I'm excited to see what's to come. Thank you guys for joining us on yet another full review and tour over at Allcarnews, and make sure to like and subscribe for more coming soon. Cheers.